If I'm honest, I really like Pengu and this is, from a similar strategy as we just spoke about. I think it would be really unsurprising to me if we don't see like an ETF and some form of like a DAT or an equity play by Igloo or Podio around that. And I think you would see kind of a crazy move on the back of that. So
what's up, everybody? It's LG Doucette here, and welcome to the Milk Road Degen podcast, the only show that treats your altcoin bag with the emotional support it deserves. That's nice. Who wrote that? Today's guest is Mando. So when we had OSF on the show a couple weeks ago, he told me that the smartest guy he knows, and not to put pressure on Mando, who's waiting to come on the show, is Mando. Okay, and he runs a very popular crypto casino that we're going to talk about in Yeet today. He's also like a veteran of the trenches, man. This guy is part of FOMO Hour. This is somebody that you've seen at every intersection of all the metas and the narratives that come along, and he's going to tell us about kind of his framework for trading those things. Is this something that he gets into? Does he know about them in advance? Does he buy something when it sort of feels already a little too late? We're going to kind of get a sense of how he approaches these things. We're also recording this at a really nice time. It's about 24 hours since the Fed meeting. So we want to know from him how he's trading Q4. I think he's a bit more of a macro guy, but as you know, on our show, the macro very much informs what's happening down in the trenches and in the left curve. So we're going to get a sense from him as to whether we should be full porting all our favorite meme coins and altcoins, or if we should be holding off. And I just want to know what he's most bullish on, right? That's the biggest thing we want to know. So before we start, I just get to throw out a quick little plug for Milk Road Degen Pro. This is the main product that I'm focused on. We have a Discord channel where we give some nice plays, a bit of alpha. We discuss things that we might be aping into on the daily. There's a lot of daily runners right now. We also have a pro report that is gated behind the pro channel. So that's something you can subscribe to. The links are all in the description. And before we dive in, quick shout out to HBOX. It's the token behind Hitbox Games. Their first game actually drops before the token does. Pretty rare in Game 5. Pre-sale link is down below if you want to peek. Enough from me. Mando, what's up, man?
Thanks for that intro. Wow, the smartest guy he ever knows. I sat next to OSF was my original boss back when we were both traders on the trading floor. So he coached me for a couple of years, and then we basically sat together for 10 years, and then I convinced him to quit his job and get into NFTs with me.
Oh, you're the red pill. You're the OSF red pill guy. Holy.
I am. Yeah, wow. I fully. I think one day we were flipping because I used to trade all day and then trade NFTs at night. I only got into crypto in 2021. I bought my first crypto. But bought my first ETH in 2021. That was the first thing I ever did. Wow. And then it started going well. And then I started saying to him, like, you got to get involved in this. And then, by the end of 2021, we basically quit our jobs and we're doing this full time.
What was your red pill? Like, what was the thing you saw like on Twitter, on the timeline or whatever, that you're like, I got to do that?
Yeah, I wasn't on Twitter really. It was originally and this is a weird tangent, but I was investing after 2020, I was like, inflation's going to go crazy. And so I started investing in lots of real assets. So I started investing in wine, whiskey, and art at the time. And I started investing in art. And then somebody said, oh, have you heard about these NFT art, like crypto art, towards the end of 2020? And I kind of already heard, that Bitcoin was like an inflation hedge. And then when I started seeing this sort of stuff, I was like, wow, this could really run. So I bought my first pieces of crypto art in January 2021. Bought a bunch of one-of-ones from like some of the OG artists, like an X-Copy. I bought like a Coldy, a Hackatow, like lots of the OGs. And I was like, I'll own these for 10 years and I won't touch them. Because that's in the art market, that's kind of how it works. Like contemporary artists, you can have big gains, but often you're talking about long periods of time to own them. And often actually artists don't even become really valuable until they've passed away. So I was like, this is a really long-term play, and it just went nuts like in a month after I bought it.
That's how much were those expensive?
I put in $150,000, which at the time was like a crazy amount.
But something that you had just discovered, like something you just found.
I mean, I was a trader as a job, so like it was a decent amount of like liquidity for me, but I was like, I think this could be a big thing. I think this could be like a 3x. And I bought 15 pieces. So the average piece was about $10,000. And I remember I bought a ferocious piece for about $15,000. And the next ferocious sale was at $500,000 a month later. That's how crazy that January was. Suddenly everyone was like, this is going to be the biggest thing in crypto. And I was right time, right place. Very, very lucky on the timing there.
Well, I mean, good for you, man. But that sounds, honestly, that's the kind of energy we want on the show, though, right? Like, that's the kind of energy. Has there been anything recently that has given you that same feeling in crypto?
I mean, there was that period where, I would say late last year, where it felt like meme coins were going through a very similar sort of period, which kind of like culminated in Trump. I think the early days of meme coins, like we got involved in PEPE very early. Very, very early. Like we were there before it was like $10 million and kind of held that throughout and still actually hold some. That was, so we have a lot of the stuff that got big actually was adjacent to NFTs, or it was the same sort of community. So if you were in those circles, you did pick up on stuff quite early, particularly anything around culture, because it's something that a lot of like the traditional, let's say, liquid token funds, they don't pick up that quickly. They'll pick up a good DeFi protocol and be like, oh, this shows up on my Artemis browser or my Nansen. Oh, this seems like a good thing that I should pay attention to. But they won't pick up on the culture side of stuff. And at that time, it was much slower, right? Like PEPE came out and it just hung out for a few days. I mean, it did start to go higher, but there weren't there was like one token launch a week. Now, and then when Pump Fun happened, it was, I don't know how many we get per day at the moment, but it's in the maybe even tens of thousands. So
how did you know with PEPE though? Because the token wasn't affiliated with Matt Fury, who's the creator of PEPE. So how did you know? Because I feel like weren't there a lot of other PEPE tokens as well? I feel like many have come and gone. Or am I wrong?
Yeah. So how was it? I was in a chat, I think, with a bunch of other people around NFTs, and there was just
this is like mid bear market too, right? This is like early 2023, maybe.
Yeah,
right? This is when we're like everything's down.
Dead. There was a smart trader at the time called Degen Harambe who used to like be like he was a good trader in NFTs and like picked up on stuff early, and now he's come out as like the actual creator of PEPE at the time. And he started talking about it as it was getting big, like below $1 million. And then we were like, oh, okay, this could be big. And PEPE has had some history in crypto, right? So you said there's been some other tokens, but also you had rare PEPEs, which is like the OG NFT collection.
That's right.
And me and OSF just kind of sat together and we're just like, hey, we should buy this. This could be big. And you could just tell with the momentum, all the NFT people were kind of getting behind it. And we bought, I think we bought 1 trillion tokens each, actually. We bought a lot of money of PEPE very early doors, and then just kind of held on for a long time. But that PEPE story, that was not the end of it. It went all the way up, then all the way right back down. Then the dev wallet got hacked. Matt Fury sold his bag. It was being attacked. Like PEPE was not an easy hold for the next year. After that, it had a really good run up, and then it went crazy.
How do you? So let's talk a little bit about like that mentality, because I feel like there's most of the greatest assets in like degen circles are things that you have to hold for a long time to get to like a massive inflection point, right? And even you talk about like NFTs, right? It's a good example where even something like Apes, punks, it's like I've got like Apes, especially in their run before they got to like $500,000, went through so many fluctuations, right? So how do you navigate something like that? Like, how do you decide that you're going to hold? Are you like just swing trading these? You're like, this is too high, I should sell, and then it's low, I'm buying some more. How do you manage like the anxiety from having so much of it and maybe sold too early? Like, tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I think everyone kind of has like a spreadsheet or some sort of in their mind how much they're kind of worth and some of this sort of stuff, and that can always be a bit of a bad thing to do at times, because you look at stuff versus the volatility can get too much, or you're always focusing on the value versus like it at its all-time high, and that could be a really bad way of doing it. I think the simple answer to that is actually doing it as part of a team really helps. So like me and OSF do a lot of stuff together, but we do stuff as part of trading groups as well, and we're often looking at stuff. Surrounding yourself with people who are looking at this sort of stuff, and they're not trying to dump on each other, I think is quite a good way of doing that. I would say the market in general has become much faster. So like it's very difficult to hold on to degen bags for a long time now because there's just so much new things coming out, and it was slower then. You need to look for stuff with moats that you feel like, by moat I just mean like no one is going to be able to come and say, hey, we were the first, or first is normally one of the major things. But if they've got something unique about it that you think is defensible over a long period of time, then that can be very, very valuable. So we got involved in Bored Apes very early as well. OSF actually minted like 300 of them, or 150 of them, and we kind of got in and out of those, and then eventually we ended up with about 80 of them, from about 2 or 3 ETH onwards. And we actually spoke to their team. We spoke to Yuga Labs early doors. I remember we came off the trading floor one day because we were still in the office then, like called up, and we're like, hey, what do you want to do with this? And they just seemed like they had a really good strategy. So we were like, well, we should just sell everything and buy more of these, because these are going to go higher. And they seem unique. They were the first to do this sort of strategy around utility and the second collection, the mutants at the time, and it just felt like they were going to be very, very unique for a while. And we held them for about 2 years, and then exited them. But again, when we exited them, that was a one minute phone call between me and Ovi, and we got out of them like that. I think it's just from a trading sort of background, you have strong beliefs loosely held, and like when you see a good trade, you just know, right, okay, to move on. Was
that near the top, Mando? Was that near the top, man? Tell me somewhere near the top.
It wasn't near the top. I mean, it was a fairly well-publicized sale, but we did sell them. We sold them all around the time of the Blur farming situation. I don't know if you remember that. There was massive incentives for people to bid on NFT collections, and one trader, Matchy Big Brother, who's kind of also slightly infamous, he was farming the protocol and just thought no one would sell him this many Bored Apes, and we had 72. And I think around 3 a.m. one night we were like, right, we're just gonna sell them all, and that was it. We were out.
Do you still make trades at 3 a.m. in this market?
That one was pretty intense. I remember I just got off a flight, and Ovi actually completed it, and Matchy had got a bid for 35 of them. It was at 78 ETH, so 35 of them at 78 ETH, and then he had 78.02 ETH, and then he had another 35 bid at 78.01, and we just hit him in 35, and people thought we'd been hacked. They were like, "Oh, like what's going on here? How did you sell them all?" Because we just did it very, very quickly. So I'll always be very thankful for Blur, because people did some crazy stuff to get that airdrop.
Yeah. All right, a quick break to talk about Hitbox Games and their token HBOX, which is on presale right now. So this token basically powers all of their games, the first of which is Sword of Blood, which has already been tested by like 50,000 players and has had a pretty good retention rate of like 41%. And the game is actually out before the token comes out. So you're kind of de-risking. You go try the game before you decide to buy this token, but it launches very soon, and there's only 50 million tokens that are going to be live at launch. And there's a long vesting for the investors and the original people in there to kind of reduce that sell pressure. So the pre-sale is on now. Go to milkroad.com/swords of blood to support them and support the show. Yeah, absolutely. So is there anything in the current sphere that you've been able to catch at a good time, or that you think has been like, and I agree with you, the market moves so fast now, man. Like there's no like, and there's very few like cultural kind of vibes like there were with NFTs, right? That really felt, at least the early days, like, wow, this is something different. It's going to change how we collect and how we signal culture and how we gate cultural groups. Now meme coins, big ones last like a weekend. and $40 million is a big market cap, right? Like things have changed significantly. Is there anything that really like interests you actually, Mando? And it's okay if there isn't, because if you've moved on, you're part of several businesses now. It's a natural evolution for you guys. But is there anything to you that really kind of tickles you in that same way?
I think since the election, it felt as though the market and utility did slightly shift away from just culture back to revenue. And DeFi and all the major winners since the election, honestly, have been like DeFi protocols, things like Hyperliquid and the rise of all the previous governance tokens of different DeFi protocols and things like stable coins like Athena. So it's the big winners since the election have actually been DeFi. And I think that's something that caught people off guard. If you were to say Trump's going to come in, what will be the biggest gainers back in November of last year? People would have given you like 10 meme coins and gone like, these will be the ones that will win. So, and actually it's not been like that. All those dropped massively. And a lot of DeFi protocols were the ones that did much better. That I think does slightly stay with us. Like we've come a lot more TradFi in our analysis, and some of the biggest gainers, even when you look on a chain level now, you let's say I really want to be involved in SUI or BNB before you bought the major meme coin of that chain, and now it feels like maybe you buy the major protocol of that chain, the major revenue protocol of that chain. That's going to be the best play. That's a big shift from what it was a year ago. So this sort of like we're in the trenches, learning, and we know culture slightly better than people. It has gone away, and part of that is also just like the token creation stuff has just gone insane. So the natural life cycle of a token has just gone down a lot. A culture token has gone down a lot. So holding on to stuff is a little bit more difficult. What I have been interested in is like weirdly in that world, NFT culture has kind of come back again. So some of the NFT brands of 2021 have come back because they're seen as a bit more stable and the communities are a bit stronger and they don't get churned as much. So like this cycle, including for Rect, which is one of the businesses I'm involved in, that's come back, which was a 2022 meme. And you've seen Moonbirds come back. You've seen Meebits have a bit of a return. And Pudgy Penguins has basically led large bits of this sort of left curve stuff as well. So NFT brands have weirdly come full circle and are again valuable because they're a bit more stable on that culture side.
Well, you've seen them become businesses as well, right? Like that's the natural evolution. Is that last time we had all these NFT collections and we're like, what a great idea. The art is good. The team is doxed. Send it to 20 ETH, you know? But there was no business model, right? And it kind of derived, I think, from what you're saying of like digital art. It has a priceless value and tangible value. So naturally, these things will kind of survive that same way. But now we're in this revenue meta. There's one thing, Mando, that it's like, this to me is like everybody just goes to this now and makes their trading decisions based on this, which is like the revenue, the DeFi llama, like 24-hour revenue, 7-day revenue, 30-day revenue. Like everybody's like this page alone to me has fueled like the pump price to go like 3x in a month. Is people are like, look, the 24-hour revenue is the same as Hyperliquid. It's flipping it, right? And here's the difference of the market cap, and that's it. That's like, and to me, like that's a fantastic evolution from where we were a couple years ago. That it's like making money, like that doesn't matter. They raised $200 million. They'll figure out how to make money. Versus now, it's like, well, you should be looking, or at least that's how people feel. It's like you should be looking at protocols that make money and pressuring them to use that money to buy back their own token, which is also like what's happened. So it's this funny like, you know, flywheel that the market has kind of forced on people. And there's Aster now. We'll talk about Aster in a couple minutes.
It's not necessarily a bad thing, you know. Like
no,
they've become a bit more honest. But if I'm sitting there and I'm looking these culture games again, I actually think we're going to see, and this is maybe looking a little bit ahead, maybe not even this year, but next year. Give it 2 years for some of the first pump fund tokens, the ones that like are considered dead, or like, oh, it was a really cool meme, but like it went away. And I think you'll see an NFT style, the ones that actually had a decent brand, or like will still relatively have a community kicking about, like Rec guy hung out at like 0.2 ETH during the bear market, right?
Yeah.
And we just hung out in that Discord and made culture. And there are a few ones, like I don't know if you've noticed, like Nub Cap, which is like a kind of a token which was part of that early pump fun group, but the artist is still kind of a bit of an OG and still in crypto and producing art like every day, like pretty funny crypto related art. And I think, and here's one of the best performing tokens of the last few months. It's gone up to like 50 or 60 million. And something tells me that if you're looking for value, like that, like, oh, something I can hold for a while, look at 2022 pump or maybe late 2021. I don't know, like what was, 2023 pump. Or
yeah,
late
2023. Yeah, early.
Yeah, so like early pump stuff, or like maybe the tokens that were knocking out before then. And there'll be some stuff on here where you're like, there's actually still a community here, or the main creator's still doing stuff. And I reckon, weirdly, they will have some of the strongest moves.
It's funny, one thing that's always struck me funny about Pump is that you have like a lot of these AI kind of businesses, even something like this NRI token, which is like a DCG backed company that have launched on Pump. And with like the wildness of Solana, like that's something that's just mind blowing to me. But I like your theory that it's something where at some point, there's these tokens had these mass, like this like large, I guess, cultural penetration into crypto and have receded. But then at some point there'll be a few laggards who the people still running the token or they get CTO'd. We'll try
this is what I mean. There'll be like somebody comes in and says, "Hey, actually, I really like this IP. I really like the chill house IP. Let's do something with this." And it'll be like maybe it's a founder that someone knows in the space, and they go like, "Hey, we're going to do chill house." Exactly the same stuff with NFTs. Exactly the same stuff happened with NFTs.
Well, it's funny too is that NFTs also came back on the back of like token utility as well, right? Like, and it's like a rumored Pengu token. Apes had their token a long time ago, but you've had like Doodles also release their token, right? Everybody kind of came back, and Rect is also a good example. Although again, with utility like behind a business, right? So yeah, I could totally see that with Memecoin. So wait, what are your picks for like in 2 years from now? Go and buy these tokens before they come back. What's
to be honest, I wouldn't have picked Moonbirds as one of the ones back then either. But it's like often it depends on like somebody who likes the IP and is going to lead it again. But if someone came in and said, "Hey, I want to do this," like Nub has been a good example because it's been a coin that every other coin around that just died. But they still like the founder. But there's other ones that I could look through and be like, this is actually IP that you could either do some form of a consumer product, or you can build a protocol around, or just something. There's life in this as a culture, and let's do something with it. I that's my prediction. In the same way that NFTs came back, it won't be for every single one. I'm not saying go and buy all these dead coins.
This is what you're talking about? This one? Nub?
This one. Yeah, like
Nub Cat.
I just feel like this is the sort of stuff that might come back at some stage. Like next year, when all this stuff has been seasoned and you really get a sense of what actually did build a community and what wasn't just a run up. I think this is the stuff that will be interesting.
I like that word. I like seasoned. Seasoned is a nice way to put like old kind of dead assets in crypto. Is it properly seasoned? Moonbird's a good example. It had to go through its seasoning of like Kevin Rose taking ketamine and then crashing out and then getting a new owner. So I like that. Let's talk a little bit about there's two things. Okay, hold on. Before we move on, OpenSea airdrop, bullish or no?
They've really turned around the business in terms of, it does feel like I don't know what's gone on there, but they've got seemingly some sort of new management team in, or new devs. They've definitely got an impetus to do things.
Yeah.
Feels like it could be worth something. I mean, where does Blur hang out? Like $500 million? Something like that? It's probably going to be okay.
Yeah.
I reckon probably around $1 billion, something like that. As a token, maybe even higher. So it's probably worth farming it, but I haven't been farming it.
No, they've got the thing with OpenSea. Blur is currently at the fully diluted is 266 million.
Okay.
So
Okay,
still
so
quite
maybe
low, but it's kind of dead anyways. Like there's not much going on there anyways. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, has
OpenSea
my
has
connection gone?
these like annoying kind of missions that you have to do. OpenSea has these like bizarre missions of like go buy an NFT that's $50 and you have to do it every day and earn this XP. And to me, like I'm bullish on like I'm optimistic that they're finally doing something kind of interesting and good, and they may do a juicy airdrop for people who trade a lot of NFTs back in the day, Mando. So that could be attractive to you. Maybe there'll be locking options. Maybe they'll do buybacks, which will like pump the token. Maybe they'll release a whole new product that we don't know about that the token's gonna be used for. But there's something about those missions, man. Like I just can't. There's something about it. I'm just like, man, I just can't subscribe to like go doing these like menial tasks every day to try and earn this like imaginary thing. Like I feel like we've been farmed too many times by other like DeFi protocols or L2s or whatever that require you to do all these things every single day. And it's just too much for me. But I think that's one of the biggest kind of like wild cards of Q4 is, especially for like, people in the degen corners of like, what's going to happen with that? How big of an impact is that going to have? Like, what's the valuation going to be? And this is their chance. This is their chance to survive, right? There's a lifeline to the next stage.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of things are going to have tokens, as we've already seen in the next, just since this new administration has come in.
Yeah,
the number of airdrop opportunities is definitely gone up just because
it's going to be a little while.
Everything is okay to have a token now.
Are you bullish Q4 after the Fed meeting yesterday?
You know what? I was bullish going into it. I'm still bullish, but what I do think is that, and this is just put on a macro head, he wasn't that dovish. And my opinion is that every single bit of economic data now for the next 2 months is going to be very volatile. So like if we see a bit of bit of weakness now, either from economic growth or in the labor market, there's going to be a lot of calls where he should be more aggressive, and he's mucked this up. And my real takeaway from that was that I like Bitcoin, and I think you're going to have really good days to buy altcoins on bad days. Even if altcoins outperform, the volatility in them is going to be wild, I think, for the next month or two.
Is there what's one asset that you think is like a major, but that has the most volatility in the coming while, both for entries and exits?
That I like.
That you like, yeah, or one that you don't, but is going to have all these wild fluctuations.
I mean, I really like BNB right now. I think BNB is going to be a very interesting asset. I think CZ is going to get a pardon. I think they're going to open up their US office, US arm again, and I think it's going to be full crime season on BNB with all his DeFi protocols. So I think that is as a chain, I think it's an interesting one to own, and I really think that could be the best performing major. If I'm honest, I really like Pengu and this is, from a similar strategy as we just spoke about. I think it would be really unsurprising to me if we don't see like an ETF and some form of like a DAT or an equity play by Igloo or Pudgy around that. And I think you would see kind of a crazy move on the back of that. So those have been the two that I've held for the last couple of months. Or BNB actually is only from a couple of weeks ago, but Pengu I've owned for a while now.
How did you know to get into BNB a couple weeks ago?
Oh, I just started looking at the chart. I mean, I bought it at 900, so it's not like I got into it like super early. Yeah. But I just looked at it, and the dips on this thing, like BNB's always been a pretty controlled token, and by that, like you always feel like somebody's there to buy the dips and sell the rips. Like it never really feels like, it never really feels like it's free market. And kind of similar to Tron, like you just always feel like somebody else is really in control of that chart. And with BNB, it's just like there were no dips, and it just kept on edging higher. And then I went into Polymarket one day. One alpha I'd always say, by the way, go into Polymarket every single day, and you'll get a really good sense of like what might be coming in the world. And I went on one day, and the first thing, because they do it by volume each day, and there was this huge volume going through it. Will CZ get a pardon? And I was like, oh, okay, I see what's going to happen here. He's going to get a pardon. BNB is going to rip. they're going to announce something in the US, and you know, and then that kind of happened over the last 2 weeks, literally word for word. Suddenly he made himself not ex Binance but current Binance. We got a lot of stories about how they were going to do a deal with the DOJ, and that's still been a really active market. So it was really from that, literally seeing that thing and then looking at the BNB chart and going like, why does this keep doing so well? Noticing that was top of Polymarket, I put two and two together, and I was maybe later than others, but I think I was earlier than others as well. So if you look, will Trump pardon in 2025? CZ is yes at 45%. That market's been trending higher for the last month.
Yeah, and today we're seeing, or yesterday we're seeing the hype, and today we're seeing the hype around the Binance's hyperliquid competitor, which nobody knew about until a couple of days ago, but now is all over the timeline, and it's a difficult token to get. You could trade it 1-to-1 until September 30th. It'll be listed at whatever. And I even saw a thing today that's oh, they're gonna, CZ's trying to get hyperliquid banned in Asia so that he can make his hyperliquid competitor the main thing, that kind of stuff. Maybe. Yeah.
The thing about BNB was always really bad for memes. It just never really worked. If you try and did a BNB meme season, which I did once get involved in, it was horrific. And it would come about every few months, and every coin would die, and then it would come back. With DeFi sort of stuff, I do think that they can, particularly if they attach it in some sort of way to Binance, and there's a much easier listing process for all this DeFi stuff than there is for any sort of meme, which is what we just saw. That was listed. And also, if you haven't been noticing, but CZ in this period where he was not part of Binance, but still owned all of Binance, basically set up a VC company and has been investing in a ton of different things. And now a lot of that stuff is about to be listed on Binance. So it feels like full-blown CZ's going to have a great 2026. And I think BNB is it could continue to lead all majors for a bit.
I like that. I think you're convincing me, because when I've seen the BNB stuff the last couple of days, I was like, man, I've never really traded on Binance. It was banned. I haven't really thought about that since he kind of almost single-handedly crashed FTX. But now, especially doing this show, and one thing I've learned this cycle is don't let these weird internal little stories that you have, don't let that little voice saying you won't be able to understand it or you won't be able to trade it. Don't let that take over, and just be just go to where it's clear that there's going to be money, just go to that and then get in, get out, and then just move on to the next thing. Right.
100%.
That's very much how it feels. Yeah.
If you, and I agree with you, I'm not a big user of BNB. If I've used it, it's a bit clunky. It's like a slow version of ETH. It's not my favorite chain. But if I look at this and go on the 20th of August, I'm just looking now, the chance of CZ getting a pardon was 20%. And then it just started gapping higher. And then you start to see the stuff that we've seen. It just feels like he's gonna, the incentive is to make that coin go high. And it's already, he owns a huge chunk of this coin, right? BNB is a very tightly controlled coin, which is what I was saying before. And now he can just control that chart up with new buyers coming in. It just feels like the sort of thing that will go higher. And Tron was a very similar sort of coin. Tron has been one of the best performers this year, and no one ever talks about it.
No.
Right. And that's because Justin Sun got a pardon essentially and got in bed with the World Liberty financial people. And although that turned a bit south, he controls a large bit of that coin, and it was a really good coin to own. And I'm not fading this because of that.
Totally. Mando, this is fantastic insight. So I know I'm going to be doing the next couple of days is I guess probably bridging to B2B and being ready for more runners. Thank you for that. Yeah, thank you. Before we wrap out, I do want to talk about Yeet a little bit, right? Because this is your business. This is what you've kind of launched in the last couple of years. So give us the 30-second pitch on Yeet. What is it, and why should we get involved?
Yeah, Yeet is a crypto casino and sportsbook. We launched it with a team that was inside crypto already. We kind of formed it during a bit of the bear market. We were being sponsored by a few different casinos and sportsbooks at the times, and we realized that none of them were really crypto native. No one really knew them. They weren't really that well trusted. And yet we saw like insane amount of appetite to just do degen stuff. So we thought, right, we create a brand that people knew the founders of, and 1% house edge games. And if people want to gamble, then this is kind of well, you know what you're getting. Like, it's pretty fair odds. I also kind of felt as though during the bear market, like during all this pump fund stuff, like I felt like people were actually often in coins just to do like a 2x. And they didn't know that the odds of them winning was like 10%. If someone gets above $3 million, like it was just like they would never win. So I just think there's a huge incentive for this in this space, and we just thought, right, we'll just put we'll just make it like what you're going to get at least with the stuff. So, and we put a whole community around it. We do tons of community events each day. We sponsor a ton of different people in the space as well, and it's myself, Keyboard Monkey, who's pretty well known to a lot of different people, a professional poker player called Ben Lamb. We're going to be launching a sportsbook next month, and then poker games, PvP games, lots of different stuff. Maybe even go into prediction markets. It's kind of going to go where it goes from here.
Cool, man. Is there going to be an airdrop one day? Maybe you can't answer that.
Oh, no, there will be. Yeah, we're definitely.
Oh, there will be. It's no. Okay.
And it'll be a Web3 style token. Let me put it that way.
Hey, right on. It's going to be, so you're saying it's going to be on this DeFi Llama chart one day.
Who knows?
That's where I want to see it. That's where I want to see it, man. I want to see Yeet up here sometime soon. Okay, so I guess we'll probably have links for it in the description, or I'll throw it up in the chat when we get around to it. But basically, go on here, have a little fun in the casino, and just enjoy yourself, right?
Yeah, we sponsored Milk Road for a little bit, I think, the actual.
That's right. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, so people have already heard of it, but I think it's great to hear it from you as well. Great. Well, Mando, dude, thank you so much for coming on the show, man. It's been great to chat. And all the best of luck with that and all the other projects that you're part of. You're also part of Rect and a few others. So something that we also follow pretty closely here. And you guys can check out Mando on Twitter. I mean, I think are you just Mando now?
I'm Rect. I'm still at Rect.
You are at Rect Mando. Okay.
Yeah. And I have a slightly competing newsletter, but not really competing. But yeah, I also have a newsletter which sometimes people follow. Mando Minutes. Dude,
Mando Minutes is great. Honestly, it's a fantastic newsletter. Like it's just quick headlines, and I really appreciate it. Especially somebody who's trying to cover the trenches, man. Like I read that every morning. You're at such a different time zone than me that it's like by the time I wake up, your newsletter's been out for like 6 hours. And I'm like, okay, what's happened? What do I need to look into before I go and find my own stuff too? So it's very much appreciated.
All right. Well, it's great to speak to you, and good luck with the rest of the podcast. I like this format.
Thank you, man. Want updates from the trenches alongside the tokens we're trading? Sub to our channel, then join the Milk Road Degen and Degen Pro newsletters. This show's for educational purposes only. Nothing we say is financial advice. Investing is risky. Never invest more than you can afford to lose.